Hello, Bordentown. How you doing today on this lovely, beautiful Wednesday? It turned out to be a really nice day. So I am over here, as I said earlier, talking to Leon of the Bordentown Arts and a children's mural project that we have going on in town. So I just wanted to get some information from him, what it's about, where it's going to be, all kinds of stuff. So I'm here with Leon. Hello, sir.
Take two. This is going to be so freaking ridiculous. All right, let me get my head together here. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So really what I wanted to ask you today is I've been seeing your post on Instagram about this children's mural project. Could you tell us a little about it?
Yes, and I'll try to be succinct.
Okay.
This is an idea I had for last year's Cranberry Festival. To do a themed 4-part children's project, inspired by both the pandemic and last year's, maybe even more so than the pandemic, last year's social unrest, and issues that the country, in my opinion, really does need to face up to and work on. And the idea was 4 themes being peace, love, hope, and community. A little hokey, but
It's a good theme.
Never goes out of style.
No, it doesn't.
Obviously, Cranberry Festival didn't happen, but the idea stuck with me. And I guess about December, like I say, the idea stuck with me. And my wife was of a mind where she's like, Leon, if you want to do it, do it. So I was like, you're right. So I reached out. Well, obviously the concept kind of changed without the Cranberry Festival. But I reached out to the school, McFarland, because I thought that age group would be most appropriate. And they were like, great idea, Mr. Stanley, but the kids still aren't in school. So I was like, okay. So I went back to the drawing board, and as it were, and was like, okay, well, what we'll do is we will literally take the large 4x8 panels and cut them up.
Great idea.
Each child can then paint a piece at home autonomously, and then we'll put them back together. And so I reached out to 4 artists. I kind of describe this as a table with 4 legs, and it needs each leg to be stable. We need artists, we need kids, we need a little bit of money, and we need some place to put this thing. Reached out to 4 artists. Every single one that I approached said yes. I reached out to the president of McFarland's PTO, so she got the word
nice.
out. I reached out to the DBA for a little bit of money, because I didn't want the families to have to fund this. I wanted us to be able to just keep it really simple in that way. And right around this time, kind of coincidentally enough, is when the city's acquisition of Divine Word occurred, and we're going to be moving City Hall there, and it's going to be our municipal complex. And I was like, okay, well that was well timed. Reached out to Mayor Lynch, told him about it. He was supportive. Reached out to City Hall. They've been nothing but supportive. So the pieces will be installed eventually inside the new municipal complex.
Oh, okay, because that's what a lot of people were wondering. Are these going to be all over town? Are these going to be spread out? So it is going to be in one place.
Yeah, and they're not all going to be, they're going to be large, obviously. So they're not going to be all installed together.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hall space. Bob Erickson took me for a little tour. The place is huge. So that's where they'll find their permanent home.
Nice. So when do you think this project is going to occur? Like with the installation and...
It's whether or not it's going to be finished by May 1st. We're going to have a dedication.
Oh, okay,
May
nice.
1st, at Divine Word. Hopefully, if it's a nice day, like it is now. It'll be outside.
Okay.
So the kids, parents, artists, commissioners will all be able to be there. And actually, it was funny. We in conversations with City Hall. We don't want there to even be an appearance of any kind of political. So we're going to invite the other two candidates. So it's just
Perfect.
celebrating
Yes.
Bordentown and no weird overtones.
Oh, yeah.
But that's going to be May 1st. I don't know the time, probably 10 or
Okay.
11 o'clock, but I can let folks know. It'll be installed shortly after that. I mean, a lot of it depends on how quickly the city does
Yeah.
or does not get in there. I think, I think the timing is important that it be dedicated sooner rather than later. While quite honestly, this is all fresh in our minds. Not that it's going to be easily forgotten, but another one of my motivations was to really memorialize this incredibly unique period of history that we're all living through, and especially to maybe try to have kids do it.
I think that's important.
I think it's really interesting. I mean, so 10 years from now, these things are, in City Hall, and, somebody's in there paying their water bill or whatever, and some kid is like, "Mommy, what's a pandemic?" And it's, you're going to have a generation of kids, obviously, that aren't going to, have had any firsthand experience of this. So, well, let me tell you, son, or.
Well, another good point you said is like something else that inspired you was the civil unrest, that's been happening this past year. And I think a lot of times people forget just because they're children doesn't mean it doesn't affect them or they don't understand. So I think that's a really good point too.
I grew up, pardon me, going off camera. I grew up in the 60s. I was young. I mean, I was born in 1960s, but I remember 1968. I grew up in a suburb north of Baltimore City. And as a 7-8-year-old, I mean, it blew my mind. I'm watching, the city of Baltimore burn literally 20 minutes from my house.
Wow.
And, I'm a suburban kid, and it was just kind of, like,
what's happening?
So weird. And, obviously this country, I don't think has seen the social unrest that we saw last year since then.
Yeah.
I thought it was, somewhat ironic that occurred in the midst of a pandemic.
Oh, I know.
It's like,
I know.
Really? But, maybe, in the cosmic scheme of things, it allowed us to really maybe focus. I don't want to, proselytize.
Yeah.
But, since our lives were already so disrupted, I think it almost allowed us to maybe address or focus on it in a different way than whether, it had been, maybe a more normal period of time in history where, these news stories, did get the attention and consideration they deserved.
They did. And you know what? I hope it opened a dialogue, between parents and kids of, what's happening? Why is this going on out there? So I think that's a positive thing that you added that in there with the civil unrest. And, kids might have a hard time understanding it right now this past year.
I hope so. I mean, obviously these are big issues. And kids are smart, and
they are
usually a lot smarter than we.
They're perceptive.
A lot of times we give them credit for.
You're absolutely right.
So I mean, to kind of bring it full circle, I mean, it just seemed like an apropos project, and like I say, even though the themes might be a little trite on the surface, they never go out of style.
No.
God knows we could use all the peace, love, hope, and community.
You got that right.
we could get. So
you got that right. I'm sorry.
That's the gist of it.
I think that's a good breakdown. I think a lot of people, wanted to know these things. What's happening? Why'd you start it? And where it's going to go. So you also pulled out some really nice examples here of a few of the things that are going to go up.
This is a piece. This is obviously not the original. This is actually even larger than the original. The original is only 11 inches by 5.5. But this is a piece called A Peaceful Reach. It's by an artist based in Cranberry named Kathy Martzloff. And so that's the copy of the original piece. And this is it literally cut up into 8 2-foot by 2-foot squares, which will then be attached to a backing. And so this section is, roughly this piece of the painting right there. Some other pieces are done, but the whole piece is still being worked on.
So is this one of the children's submissions right here? Like, did they do this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This was painted by, this is AJ Suri.
Oh, AJ.
Nate Appleby.
Nice.
Painted that. So these are all 3rd, 4th, 5th graders.
Wow. They did a great job.
And a couple more have come back. A couple are still out being worked on, so I don't have this complete piece yet. This is a piece by a Hamilton-based artist named Tom Kelly.
Oh, I love that one.
This is symbolic of hope. And what this is in Japan, they literally have a Children's Day on May 5th. And they fly these carp windsocks with the carp symbolizing strength and courage, and the hope and prayer that the children
That's amazing.
grow up strong and healthy and looking towards a bright future. And I guess these 2 pieces are this piece section.
Oh, okay.
Right
oh, yeah, I
there.
see. Nice.
This piece, because it's a bit more complicated in image, we did these in 16 by 16 inch squares. We don't want to blow the kid's mind where he's getting a little stir cream.
Yeah.
So we made those sections a little bit smaller. And so all together, I think we have just shy of 30 kids.
Wow, that's nice.
Participating from
Yeah.
McFarland. There'll probably be enough separate pieces of the 4 works that each kid can do 2 different pieces. And I guess we're about a third through. Either pieces that have come back or in process. So I think we'll be pretty close to done
Okay.
by the end of the month.
Nice.
It would be great if we were, but it also isn't all that necessary.
Yeah.
Because in a way, even if we do dedicate it on May 1st and there are a few uncompleted sections, it almost kind of illustrates the process.
Yeah.
Where it won't be complete. So whatever. That'll happen however it happens.
Well, I think this is an amazing idea, and I thank you for coming up with this for the children of Bordentown. I mean, not just them, but for the adults too. This is going to add some beauty to our lives, and the concept and your idea, your inspiration.
I hope so, and I mean it's really been touching, people's response. I mean, the kids are excited, the parents are excited. They were just like some of them were just so sweet in terms of the kids having something maybe kind of different to do. They're all we're all going, waiting for this to be over.
It's kind of like an outlet from this past year too, of maybe a wave that they can get it out and express themselves through art, which is important.
It is important, and do it in a positive way.
Yes.
Do it in a creative way. This is what I call one of the pandemic's little silver linings.
It is.
I mean, it's been a massively disruptive and a lot of hardship, suffering financially, literally, people sick. But it hasn't been without some silver linings. So if as a community, we come together and kind of, as I say, memorialize the values that hopefully helped carry us through this period in history. But also, just I want to throw out, I don't intend for this to be a one-off. I mean, there's so much talent in town.
There is. There is.
Whether it's fine art, performing art, music, dance. And so I've kind of started to roll around the idea of literally a Bordentown homegrown holiday record,
Oh, that would be awesome.
For this upcoming
Yeah.
holiday season. There's so much musical talent in town.
Oh, there is.
And I just think, that would be really fun to,
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
put that together.
Yeah.
And these projects, I think it's most appropriate that they usually wind up also some charitable purpose. We've had some informal talks with the artists about what happens to the original works when we're done. And they've thrown out the idea of an auction. There hasn't been any consensus amongst the four of them, and they certainly need to do or are free to do with their work what they want. But an auction with the proceeds going towards a scholarship for a graduating senior.
Oh, that's a great
Of
idea.
the high school.
Yeah.
Whose course of study will be the arts.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So then, even then it comes full circle.
Yeah.
It goes back into the community and helps some kid, who intends to make the arts, whether fine or performing, their course of study.
That's a great idea.
We'll see.
Well, thank you so much for explaining the mural project and where it's going to go and how you guys did it and came up with this concept. I think it's really great for the town, and it's great for the children. And I think it's a really good outlet for them after this past year. Plus it shows them, hey, we care about you kids. They're our future in this town, and we have some good ones here.
They're our future everywhere.
They are. All right, well, thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Brenna.
And I wish you good luck with this project. I can't wait for the dedication on May 1st.
It's really exciting.
All right, thanks, Leon.
Thanks so much.
All right, well, what an informative talk. And I think we all got to learn a little bit more about this project and what's going to happen, the inspiration behind it. And it's so great for the kids in town, feeling like they're involved in something and making a difference. And it's going to add some more beauty to this awesome town we have. So this has been Brenna over here talking with Leon about Bordentown Arts and the Kids Mural Project. Have a good day, everybody.